Alright. Welcome back to Kamen Rider Review, episode number 174. We're here discussing episodes 39 to 42. And yes, with these episodes, I have only 8 left. You're like, really? Yes, really. Just 8 more to go, and then I'll be done. Which, in my opinion, is good. I like that. So, in these episodes, by the way, in the case of 39, basically, it's like, oh, Tojo wants to work because he of course kills a monster. Basically, in the case of this one, where Acha, who's basically in prison at this point since episode 35, he pretty much in a way tricks his new lawyer to get his belongings, and eventually later on he does actually escape and plays a small role in later episodes. This is a funny bit, I think in episode 42, I think it was. Well, I'll get back to that. Yu, of course, is later targeted. Of course, the stuff with her that leads into episode 43 I'll discuss later. Because it involves her basically somehow, where it's revealed in these episodes that she created the monsters we've been seeing since the start of the series. Yes. Because they show how she created them is interesting. So, she and her brother Shiro were drawing these pieces of paper and all these monsters basically drawn there. And all these drawings became the monsters of the series. So, also she can control the monsters somehow? Yes. So, Seiji and Tojo follow a monster inside of the mirror world, and then as soon as the monster is defeated, Tojo basically stabs in the back right after his battle is over and proceeds to beat the crap out of him until Ultra Zero shows up and says no need to kill him. And then, of course, Seiji is taken to the hospital. Of course, also, they actually bring up once again that he has a reduction in pay because of his being absent for a while. And he's not in hospital very long. No, he's in hospital maybe a couple days, but he's like really injured. But my guess, because he's a writer, he was able to heal pretty quickly, despite the fact that normally you can't really do that. But it's TV. What do you expect? So, yeah. So, they visit time and time again the room 401. It's like in these episodes, this room is seen a lot more than it was first introduced back in like episode 11. It's been featured a few times during the first like 20 episodes. Now it's featured practically every single scene. It's like, oh yeah, and then in episode 40, we're introduced to pretty much the final writer going to be introduced in the series. Kamen Implar, though they don't really identify him here, but we do see the guy who actually is him here. Yes. Now, I'm not really sure of exactly why in the world. Like, they even have like one scene where they have the ultimates about the monsters. Really cool battle here. So, it's also the original. By the way, episode 4 is when they finally figure out the monsters, which, by the way, have been basic. Now, Seiji, he basically knew the monsters since episode 1. Now you're probably thinking, why the heck did the supporting cast take it to basically toward the end of the series find out about these monsters? The reason is because of the writing. That's simply the reason for it. They basically have Rinko investigate the it's like she investigates disappearances from the start, and then it's stopped, and then it's brought back up again recently, and then it's evolved. It's like, it's almost like the writing does not want to advance their plot forward. It's like, we have to stop because basically, oh, we're getting too close. Now, I don't blame the actors basically for what happens in these episodes. The fact that the viewer has known about this in episode 1. The fact that we have Rinko basically investigating this stuff and then stopping and then starting up again, it just, Like that's probably anybody who watches the series. Probably the series is really good so far. I've been enjoying since episode 1. I would say that the disappearances stuff and the invention from the monsters, it's like the best way to describe it. It's like, yeah, pretty much the art journal characters are written to be basically stagnated because, oh, we don't want to learn about too much stuff too quickly for them, despite the fact that everybody doesn't know about this is episode 1. Yes, so I blame the writing for this, for Renko, where she starts, then stops, this whole disappearance stuff. And they found out about the monsters, first due to Shirby seeing the mirror, and then seeing a monster in a window. And of course, Renko tries to show Dakota, he's like, there's nothing there. Like, yeah, he designed it, like, just basically a new story. Well, that wasn't until basically he decided to go visit Room 401, and then for some random reason, because Renko dared visit them at Room 401. They can't go in the room for some reason, despite the fact the writers are going, no problem, and Yu has been in there. So, and then Tojo decides to randomly suck her into the mirror world, so actually they attack her, and then of course there's this really cool effect here, where it is shocking they never did this before. I mean, you have two-way basically glass like this reflective glass. It's like, ooh, let's just basically transform in front of each other and then jump into the mirror world, and you noticing this. Now, how you can detect monsters, despite the fact she's not a writer, is interesting, and they not really, aside from her later on reveal she can control the monsters, it's not specifically revealed the reason why she can sense the monsters. My guess is because she's Shiro's sister. That's my guess anyways. But it's not specifically revealed here. So, then they fight, and Implar basically, it's like, oh, he gets hired by CG at the cafe, and then basically he also gets hired by the other people. Though in the case of, it's basically a 4-part arc involved with the Implar arc. Yes, it's like, yeah, he is just randomly brought into the series. I mean, he is technically the last writer introduced. He's like very weird. By the way, his real name is Sano, where he basically seems like his primary job is basically a security guard, and he's bribed to wash someone's car. You're like, really? Yeah, really. It's that's kind of in a way what happens here with him. Yeah. And then he turns on the writers, then it's like, I'm not really sure exactly what was the purpose of bringing him in here like this. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we only have, sadly, put a couple more episodes for this guy. He goes, apparently it's just an arc for him, for like 31 to 41 to 42. Yeah, that's the start of the Implar arc. Yeah, he's a very short-lived writer. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and also then he kidnaps Yu, tries to kill her, but luckily he's stopped, and then yes, so, and then, like, okay, so, they do in fact deal with the monsters, so they kill all the monsters, of course. Chi basically is immune to this, and then Tojo decides to randomly turn on his boss, By the way, also, Shiro decided to send a monster to go kill the man's family. And then, of course, Shichi stops them. And then later on, and of course, the professor is killed in episode 42 by his own student because he doesn't want to close the mirror anymore. He'd just rather just keep fighting. I'm like, what was the point of that? The funny one I should bring up here. So we have Asakusa breaks the prison. So he goes to find, and this is 42. So the plot of that is like him looking for Tojo. So first he goes to his former lawyer. Usually like, go ask Kiddo. And he goes to his work. Yes, a notorious serial killer goes to a newspaper to look for one guy. And they chat for a bit, and then he proceeds to somehow know about room 401, goes in, and the equipment's gone. You're like, what happened? Well, they actually goes up shop. This is before Koza gets killed. And so Asakusa proceeds to basically take basically a metal pipe and wreck the place. He destroys a couple mirrors. It's like, wow, you want to property damage your rep? And then of course, basically, you have Koda, Ren, and Asakusa all vote the fact that CG is an idiot. And Asakusa, I'm like, dude, why are you sitting in that comfortable chair? That chair is so comfortable. It looks like it's so comfortable to sit in. I'm like, I wonder if that chair actually exists. I wonder that myself because that looks like a comfy chair. And he sits in it. And I'm like, damn. And then this room apparently is never seen again because they shut it down. I guess because they decided to do this at this point because my guess is because the room outlived its uses and we don't really see a lot of stuff happening in this lab. Aside from characters talking to each other, we don't really get a lot happening here. Also, Shiro does know about Cal before his death. And I'm like, okay, why didn't you stop before? Because you're the one controlling the game, Shiro. Why couldn't you stop the guy trying to stop the game? I'm like, yeah. It's almost like Shiro's made to be idiot. It's like he just cannot stop something that should be stopped by him. He claims how powerful, but not really. Also, Ren finds out the fact, oh, he wasn't Oda he killed. That was, in his words, a nobody. So basically, Ren kills some random guy. Yeah. You're like, wow, this seemed like a lot of stuff happened, of course, for 4 episodes. It did. But we're getting very close to wrap this up here today. Yep. So yeah, that's Big Up to Go View. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up, we have 2 comic corners that I really want to do. And then it's on to the next 4 episodes of Kamen Ryuki. Okay, thanks, view. Bye.